Well, greetings, family. Pastor Jamal here. Pray everybody's doing good today. So, what I'm getting ready to talk about briefly, I've kind of mentioned it before in a few different ways, I think. I know, but I think it's worth bringing up again. LaShandra and I was having a conversation earlier, and some things just really were enlightening, as the Spirit just gives revelation. As you're ready to go, you go. As you're ready to go, you just go. Let me stay there. So, are you moving with God? Are you moving with God? What is the tendency or the requirement of God as it relates to receiving new information? What's the tendency? What does God really want? You know what I mean? Or what does he require? God literally requires us to be open, to be surrendered. Why do you think surrender is even in the equation as big as it is? Because surrender literally requires you to kind of hold a perspective or a truth that yells out to your soul. God will require you to do something different on the next go around. What am I saying? A lot of people have experienced God, and God has given them revelation and given them insight on things, and they've experienced it. Man, they witnessed its fruit, and our tendency is to stay there. We stay what works. And I think that's the dangerous thing, even down from the world. The world really teaches us, to get in where you fit in, to keep doing what works. But God is a living God, is a moving God, and God knows exactly what you need to get you unstuck or unshackled to things that he's moved on from. And here's the thing, God will actually use, as he's trying to get your attention, but you're not moving. So you're actually in danger of disobedience. So what God does is he will use where you will not move from to get you to move. Meaning, he will orchestrate something that will hopefully drive you into obedience because you're used to it. But you've got to understand the strategy. The strategy is, I've got to help you to pivot from a dangerous place because I've moved away from that place, says God. But I will use it, if you will catch it, to orchestrate you into an obedience that will hopefully soften your heart, soften the soil of your life, so that when he comes around again, you will be ready to move. Or you would say, because you've been softened, you've allowed this new wine, you've allowed this new revelation to allow you to pivot away from this place that once trapped you. I really pray that makes sense. And it's not scary. It's just, it's truth. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to bend with truth, go with truth, flow with truth. So God requires us, again, to be in a position to allow new revelation or new insight. And it's only new because it's new to us. It's not new, you know what I mean? But it's just new to our experiences per se. But he requires us to move because God, if you can imagine, there's this master scientist, you know what I mean? And then all you see is the back of him, and he's on this big whiteboard, and he's shuffling and moving all of these trillions and trillions of pieces. This is God. God is moving trillions of pieces at the same time. And because he's not a God, he's not a God that forces you. He wants your love. He wants your commitment. Then he's not going to force you. He's going to whisper. He's going to speak. He's going to do something to get your attention. But will you be willing to go? And most of us will say, man, if God speaks, I'm going, because who's going to defy God? I think that's a rational place to be. But the truth is, we're always defying God because we found some way to be shackled to a previous wineskin. God can't put new wine in old wineskins. You heard it 1,000 times. But for some reason, we always find a way to shackle ourselves to a system that God is trying to move us away from, or an understanding, or an experience, or a direction. You know, that's why we have north, west, east, south. It's like you're going to be hitting all levels and all areas, you know, of this God puzzle, of this world, man. So we have to understand that that's the tendency of God, to move and to require us to move even from a previous place of victory. You got to get it, man. I know people who have, witnessed success doing the same thing that they've always done. And then they try to make it law. But the only law there truly is obedience. Obey, 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 and that will yield to you the doors, the breakthroughs, the successes, the victories that can only come from listening and obeying the only one thing that knows all things. So don't make it so hard. Don't make it rocket science. Just start to surrender to the truth that God may require me to do something that in a previous season he wouldn't require me to do. Think about that. God is going to require you to do something that in a previous season he would have said no to. But because he's God and he knows everything that's happening and going on, that's why you got to put your trust in. So if you want new revelation, which you've got to have, if you want new experiences, if you want to move forward with God, you've got to be able to go. And I'll say this last thing again. This is my mantra right here, man. God said a long time ago, what it took to get you here is not going to be enough to progress you forward. So you've got to learn how to obey God in all of its features and its facets and all of its ways and layers. You've got to learn how to be obedient, even when it doesn't make any sense, because the first time or the last time what you did worked, but now it's not going to work because God moved on and you've got to move with him. Pastor Jamal, I'll talk to you. Peace.